So we must be mindful that when we come and surf here, we have to give them something for surfing uncrowded waves. So when you go home, you feel that you're giving something back to the community to help them better their lives. You come from Japan, it's a first world nation. Papua New Guinea is a third world nation. But when I talk to Papua New Guineans my age, and they talk about nation building and patriotism and you know, talking about social and economic development, well, you go and ask them, so what are you actually doing about it? Most Papua New Guinean boys and girls, they go drink, smoke drugs. What are they doing? The question?
Yes.
It's a fact. But when we talk about nation building, even for you people in Japan, when you talk about nation building for your country, but in my country, we've got 6 million people, 466,000 kilometers of land, we've got everything. We've got gold, copper, fish, everything, copra, you name it. We are the Saudi Arabia of the Pacific. But why are we at the mercy of handouts from IMF, World Bank? We've got one of the highest illiteracy rates in the world, highest HIV/AIDS rate in the Asia Pacific region. Why? We are the Saudi Arabia Pacific. We've got all the resources. But we are still dependent on Australia for $300 million US a year, Australian dollars a year, to help our economy. IMF, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, even the Japanese, the Chinese, everybody giving us money. We don't need your money. We should be developing our own resource. And we should be exporting to Japan and Australia and that. Yeah, it boils down to leadership. That is where we're failing. So you can see what I've done with surfing, from the humble sport of surfing here in Papua New Guinea. I'm now influencing, I sit on the ISA board in California now, in the world governing body. I'm influencing government policy here in Papua New Guinea to our government leaders, right from the Prime Minister down. They're listening. And I go back to the story I shared with you, my family background, where I came from. So our leaders of today in Parliament have seen me grow up as a little kid to where I am now. So when I go and talk to the Prime Minister, I talk to him like he's my father. And I tell him, you've had 40 years to mismanage this country. Enough. Now you listen. This is how we're going to do it. But I don't just talk, I say, look what I've done with surfing. I've developed an industry that's worth millions of kina to this economy by empowering our community. So if I can do it with surfing, let's look at developing the oil and the gas and the mining and the fish properly, so it's sustainable. We don't destroy it. So people like you can come and enjoy everything that we have here. People, as I said earlier, are driven by money. Money, money, money. Me, me, me. And they forget common sense. To look after your neighbour, your friend, community. I can say to them, you go and do that, but they can't say to me, Andy, you do what we want, because I'm not on their payroll. And that's the key. For 24 years, I've developed the surfing movement out of my own pocket. And I chose to do it that way, using my own money, because I didn't want anybody influencing my policy and thinking, because there's no free lunch in this world. If I want to do something and Nakano comes to me and says, Andy, we want to help you. Here's 1 can of solo, 1 million kina. You help, we help you. But if we give you this money, you must develop the surfing resource like this and like this and like that. And I'll be like, no, but that's not right. It's not in the interest of the people. You're going to cut down all the trees, or you're going to bomb the reef, or you're going to do something. No. So I chose for 24 years, to this day, my office is the head office for surfing in Papua New Guinea. I take no salary, no wage, no rent, no nothing. I do it free of charge. But it consumes 7 days of my life for 24 years. But when I sleep at night, I know consciously that what I'm doing is in the best interest of my country and my people. And at the end of the day, I can wake up, I can go surfing, and no one can tell me when to go to work or what to do. And that's the secret. So today I pursued this dream, I'm living the dream and doing it without any fear or favour of anybody. No politicians can tell me what to do or dictate policy. If anything, I've turned the whole table and I'm dictating policy and direction, telling the government this is how it's going to be done, because look at it, it's happened, it's working. It's a PNG success story, and now other countries are now looking to Papua New Guinea for help. I can show you emails. I've been invited to go to the Mentawais, to Fiji, Samoa. These countries are now asking for help, for Papua New Guinea to help develop their resources in a sustainable manner now, because these countries rushed into developing their resources and forgot about the most important people, and that's the people of the land who own the resource. So that's a bit of history, but we're living the dream now, and it's happened. So when you come back here next time for a holiday, you know there's only going to be 20 people between here and Patakai. So you just imagine there's 7 or so breaks and only 20 surfers in that area, all to yourself. That's a lot of surfing breaks all to yourself. But you're paying a levy to surf that break, and you know that money is going to help the people. What other country does that? They don't. So I feel very humble that I have my footprint all over Papua New Guinea now. So when I'm gone, Justice Kirawam, he said to me, he said, Andy, when you're dead and gone, it's going to be very difficult to share your death, because you will have so many homes, contributed to so many people and communities, and it's true. Everywhere is my home now. You know, so many communities that I feel responsible for, to help develop and empower them with opportunities for the little kids. I talk about the little kids and the program that you guys have with your Surfing Kids program, which is fantastic, because it's part of the whole vision of Surfing Association Papua New Guinea, and that's to empower the children. And I say that because if you go to Tonga, there's a resort there called Hatafu Resort. You might have heard of it in Tonga. It's run by an Australian guy called Steve Burling. Steve Burling's married to a Tongan woman, and his 2 children, his daughter and his son, surf. They're good surfers. However, when he was developing his resort like this, at Hatafu Resort, he made it very clear to the local people, the children, none of you people are going to surf. Only my guests, and that's it. So if you go to Tonga today, there's all Australian and maybe Japanese or American surfers that go there, but all the little kids sit there and they just watch. Nothing. It's very sad. Greed. He's driven by greed. Money, 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 money. But if the little kids' parents were to think, hang on, this is our resource, Steve Burling, get out. It's the end of his business. But unfortunately, the Pacific Island people are very passive. They're not as aggressive like Papua New Guinea. So I've had to find a way also to tame my people. And you can imagine, for me as a mixed race Papua New Guinean, going to Vanimo, going to KVN, going to all these people and telling them, preaching to them about an idea, they could just say to me, so who are you? But because of my family background, people knew of my history, my family, who my late father was as a pioneer. So that's, we know you, you're the son of Sir Cecil Abel, blah, blah, blah. It made it easy for me. That's why I shared with you my political history, my background, because that's played an important role. The whole story of what I've just shared with you has gone full circle now. I shared with you about Bougainville and the mine and the issue there. So just 4 months ago, I received a request from the president for Bougainville, John Momus, the boss, the big man for Bougainville Island, inviting me to go to Bougainville now to introduce surfing and surf tourism. I've been reading all about it. He said, Andy, can you come here and help introduce surfing as a sport and surf tourism for the people of Bougainville. So what triggered my mind 24 years ago, the very same island that's got all the problems is now asking me to go and help restore normalcy, help them. And that's just happened in the last 4 months. So I go there in April after the national titles. This is how we have to develop not only surfing, but every other resource. Trekking, diving, bird watching, your gold, your minerals, whatever. It has to be done in an equitable and sustainable manner where everybody wins. It's a win-win for all. Not just the politicians and the big businessman, no. The people own the resource. Unfortunately in Papua New Guinea, sad to say, we have a situation where that the gap between the rich and the poor is getting wider and wider. The rich people are making all the money, and the poor people who don't have the education, the gap is getting wider. And the educated elite are capitalizing on the ignorance of the less educated, the people who don't have a good education. So I'm trying to bring that back and say to our leaders, enough, we have to look after our people. If we're not careful, another Bougainville is going to come up. Very simple. It could happen here.